art sanctuary and community gathering place.
Hi.
And we're going to share a little bit today about the Oasis and the beautiful intention that her and her partner Scott Miller have for this space. And we're going to share a little bit about how that's connected to a lot of other bigger, broader themes about community, family, the sacred feminine, and coming together as the divine masculine and divine feminine to really co-create a new world.
Yes, that's what it's all about. Shifting some pretty big paradigms, and really I think one of the deep themes or underlying essence of Oasis is that whole big shift that we're in right now, this reunion of the masculine and the feminine, and that when we can come together in that place of one, being much more loving and in alignment with our great purpose and ourselves and our essence as women and men in the world, that when we come together from that place, then the ability to manifest and create radical, revolutionary change and transformation of the planet is way more possible. So that's part of what we're doing here is Scott and I wanted to really create a place where people individually within themselves could really come home and find that deep well of nourishment within their own self, within their own embodiment, within their own spirituality, within their own hearts, and then bring that out into the world through their creativity, through their passions, through the sharing of their gifts, and find really great creative ways to play with that within this magical, magical time that we're in right now.
It's powerful to hold sacred space for all that, not only to have the vision, but to begin to ground a sacred spot or temple space for that kind of involvement.
It's really been an amazing journey. It's something that I've dreamed about for years and years and years. Pretty much, I think my first vision was when I was 19, and that vision was of a goddess temple in the jungle somewhere. So that particular piece is still going to manifest somewhere. But really it was about having a place where I could really shine and bring what I feel I'm here to bring forth, which is sacred dance work and embodiment work for women, and the ability for this deeper spirituality rather than one that's so transcendent oriented, one that's actually really about the being human and being who we are fully, and honoring that we are the divine embodied. So what can that feel like and be like and express like in the world? So it was this long term dream for both Scott and I of having an actual container, a sacred space. And my Oasis is now this actual container that we opened 2 months ago. It's an amazing hub for all different kinds of spiritual offerings, classes, workshops, music events and concerts, and book readings and poetry readings and living arts lounge, just all these different ways for people to come and be in sacred space together. And that's another big piece of it, is how can we come together as community and the tribe here, and all the different tribes, right? We have all the different circles of the community and people coming in from out of town a lot. It's a very big tourist community. How do we come together as community to really share on a deeper and deeper level who we really are and how we want to affect the world and create magic together.
And one of the beautiful aspects about what's happening here is that some of the classes that you're offering really help the individual and or couple drop in a way that then they can come back to the community and bring that energy into the circle and begin to expand it.
Right.
So
it's that quote, and I can't even think of who specifically said that one, but there's that amazing quote that I love that talks about what the world really needs is people who come alive.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah, love that. Who is that one? Do you know? Anyways, I'll look it up. But I love that quote because it really is about Oasis is created as this place for people to come and dive deeply within themselves, within a safe container, to find all these different aspects and parts of who we are, cultivate that, love that, embrace that, and then in that fullness, we come back out into our families, we come back to our beloveds, we come back to our community, and we can bring forth a greater, more expanded, more alive, more embodied, more juicy, more yummy, more fun aspect of ourselves that then sparks all this other, revolutionary change and awakening and transformation. And so the more that we can have that internal alchemy of more alive and more aligned and centered with what is true for us, the more we can bring that out, the more that we can really help the collective do that dance, that alchemy as well, really aligning with, okay, what, as a collective species, what are we here for? What is the greatness that we can bring into the world? And how do we do the deep healing that is needed on the planet right now? How do we do the repair with our relationship with Mother Earth? How do we heal the disharmony that's been happening for thousands of years now between men and women? How do we heal that so that the world can be more joyful, playful, creative? And there's something so powerful. I know Scott and I are really discovering this. There's something so amazing of, two people who come together and then co-create together and really support each other in stepping into our fullest selves and our deepest, most passionate selves. And then we support each other in stepping out into that in the world and doing it together to create and manifest together. It's incredible what is possible. And then that, then that broadens out into how can we as sisters, create more in the world? How as community can we come together and build those bridges and create the ways of, I think we all know 2012, the time that we're in, it's like massive shifting and changing going on. There's all these structures of the old and the things that are no longer serving us that are just falling away. And we have this incredible potential for creating differently in a more harmonious, loving, mutually beneficial way. It's fun. It can be really, really amazing and powerful.
I like to think of it like the symbolism of either the flower of life, or also like I'm getting the image right now of like a reflexive web. Like, and for there to be a web, there has to be like the center points.
Right.
So we're center points both as individuals, but also when we come together as in our coupling, then the couple becomes like a even more powerful anchor in the community.
Yeah.
So I think it's really beautiful that you and your partner have started this center together, and that you're a mirror for others in that potential. And the other thing that's amazing to me about you guys is that you have a large family.
We do.
And you're 4.
We're a blended family, so we've sort of recently merged. I mean, our youngest is ours together, and then we've merged our other children in our families, and even have this beautiful feeling of extended family. So I'm extremely close friends with my stepdaughter's mother, and to also have that kind of experience too. We've had people come up to us within the community and say, "Oh my God, it's so beautiful how you have, emerged and blended families," and then the other, the ex-partners, which we don't even like to say the word ex, right? But so Nima's mom, like I'm extremely close with her, and we do things together, and she's here so much at the center, and so there's also that beautiful thing of shifting the structures around that too. Really inclusive relationships of keeping our hearts open. Keeping our hearts open.
That's nice.
Yeah. Yeah, and we have a large family, so we're doing the whole balance of, being really devoted. Both Scott and I are very, very devoted parents and love our time with the kids, and very, especially our youngest is 9 months old, so he, of course, is at a point where he needs a lot of love and attention and continual care, and so we're passing him back and forth all the time. When he's teaching, I'm with him, and he's teaching, vice versa.
Wow.
And, just learning how to do the dance of a family-owned business. And it really is a very family-oriented place. We have events here where there's a lot of kids and children, and we love having the grandmas and the elders, and so it's that's part of the community gathering place aspect of it, is bringing together people from all different areas of their lives and aspects and periods of time in their lives, and having this beautiful merging, melding pot where all of our individualities and uniqueness gets to be honored and loved, and we can really come together as a community.
Yeah, so again, kind of with the theme of the container, when I first came in, and I shared with you a little bit ago that this is a very womb-like space. I imagine that this is going to be very cozy in the winter, and also a very safe place to come and receive a massage or a counseling session or take one of your classes. And that metaphor of like the womb sort of being this anchoring place where we can begin to grow ourselves. And that from the womb, more consciousness, more awareness, more of embodiment begins to emerge.
Absolutely.
And so that's the potential that I see that you're creating here.
Yeah, it's definitely, we created this to be very much like a womb space, in the sense of a place where we can go really, really deep within our own beings and then find the nourishment that is there, because we all have this infinite source and connection with the divine within our own selves and within our own bodies. So one of the primary practices that I share here is tantric dance, and that is a practice of really just this deep dive, and doing a lot of womb space breathing, belly breathing, and exploring what is in our own internal cosmic womb, and finding that always available stream of nourishment and connectedness with source and with the divine within. And so, it's nourishing within ourselves first, so that we can fill our own cup, so we can fall in love with ourselves even deeper and greater in this very humble, very honoring way. It's not about this kind of ego fall in love with ourselves. It's this deep honoring of each of us, our incredible miracles. We're each this divine essence of God and Goddess, and the expression of life's love for itself. So each of us are that. So how can we cultivate through our practices, through our consciousness, through our day-to-day awareness, how do we cultivate a deep healing with ourselves, so that we can be really in alignment and fully embracing all of who we are, and then bring that overflowing out. Yeah, definitely. To me, it's the number one work, right? It's like if we aren't home with ourselves, if we're not doing the deep healing work to release and let go of whatever stands in the way of that internal relationship with ourselves, our ability to be really present in the world, and our ability to be really present with our children, with our partners, with our friends, with our work, the ability to do that is to the degree that we have really let go of what stands in the way of that. And shed those things, shed those owies, those wounds, those patterns and paradigms and belief systems that keep us from really embracing ourselves as these divine humans in service this greater awakening, and this incredible magic that's potential. So it's about really cultivating our ability to magnify the all of those gems. And those gems come often, so often. There was this beautiful question on Facebook the other day of, if you could do the erase button on certain things in your life, would you do it? And I thought about it, I'm like, oh, what a great question. But in reality, I can't think of one single thing, even the things that in the moment felt so horrible and so painful, and I screwed up. I was about to say a not appropriate word, sorry. But those moments where we have guilt or shame or we think we've made the wrong choice, when I look back and I see my life and I recognize all of the gems that were in those processes or those experiences, and all of the different challenges that I've dealt with in my life have brought me into this place of where I am now, and to be able to really embody the teachings, embody the practices, embody the compassion, right? The compassion to really understand just all of the aspects of this beautiful life. So it's an amazing journey. It's a really amazing journey, and I think to be able to really come to peace with that, to as men, as women, be able to embrace all of who we are, to own and lay claim to our anger, to own the owies and find the beauty in them, to be able to stay present even with the difficult stuff, and to stay present with the ecstatic joy states, right? I mean, that's another thing about our culture, is that it's like, it's okay to kind of be in this like middle ground, right? Like you can't be too ecstatically happy, and God forbid you would be really angry, or there's kind of this acceptable range of emotions, and then everything else is kind of banished. And how can we like bring all of that home and know that it all has its place, and it all has its gems, and it's all divine, and it's all beautiful, and it's all rich, and yeah. So we have practices here. We have different sound healings, or like some of the different the Shakti Flow class, where the invitation is to really embrace all of that, and to even vocalize it or express it if we need to get in touch with the like growly primordial there's definitely like all of the different pieces of being human that when we can really be with it, there's it frees up all of this life force.
So there's like a deeper energy that begins to rise.
Yeah, because there's not the different like stop points or whatever, that where we're holding down our life force, or we're in shame or this or that, and we're pressing down the natural expression. And natural expression of life force is beautiful. If you watch a tiger in the wild, I love cats. We have 3. But it's there's something incredibly beautiful and authentic about how they are. They're so in the moment. Their presence is so strong, and they're deeply sensual, embodied creatures. And they can also, one moment they're like super lovey-dovey, and the next they're like, scratching you. But it's that, it's how do we play with that authentic nature and cultivate the richness of that to benefit.
I guess because there's something about the more that when our authentic nature comes forth, then we're actually also empowered to. We're actually sharing something real is coming forth as well, rather than something rehearsed,
right,
or we're doing
what we think we're supposed to.
Yeah, or what exactly. the others are going to approve of.
This is how I'm going to be accepted if I behave this way or that way. And it really squelches our natural expression.
Yeah.
It's a very kind of controlled, contained, prettified little world that the Western world is, and to break free of that and to find greater expression, and that leads to greater creativity, more passion. It greater understanding of what our real truth is, and what are we really here to do in the world, what are we, you know, what are our gifts to share, how do we serve, you know, my own life, my family, my community, the more we can really, you know, embrace all of those aspects of ourselves, the fuller that expression can be.
Yeah. And then that fullness spreads out and is shared by others. And, yeah. There's something we were talking about earlier that's really about the embodiment of the Divine Mother energy, and the way that we're opening more and more to the Divine Mother, the reality of the Divine Mother.
Yeah.
I really want to touch on that some more, because I feel like it's such like when we really get it, it's such a deep healing that begins to happen.
Yeah.
And
well, it's like it's one of the reasons that Amaji is such a becoming a well-known, you know, force. I've been talking about her for years to my dad, and you know, one night he was watching I don't know, like some news show or whatever, and she was on it, and he's like, Renee, Alma's on, you know, 60 Minutes or whatever it was, you know, and it was like, wow, there really is this incredible need and deep calling for and welcoming of that Divine Mother energy. And I think part of what is needed with that is that, you know, the Divine Mother, if we really connect with the Divine Mother energy, she loves it all. Like, she can embrace it all as that unconditional, loving force where deep healing can occur. Right? We can't really heal these wounds of ourselves if we're at war with them. We heal it when we come into this compassionate, loving, wow, what is this about? This kind of curious place. And the Divine Mother energy is a field of that. And I think, you know, we're just all in need of more of that. We're all in need of that deep heart, devotional, loving, giving, nourishing energy. And to help bring back into balance also, you know, kind of what the ruling forces are in the world. It's been a very masculine, patriarchal type of force that's been the kind of overtone in the collective for the last several thousand years. And so there is this deep rebalancing going on, whereas the Divine Feminine and the Divine Mother that is here to balance that out and to bring more harmony, more nourishment and collective win-win, if you will, kind of energy into the world, and balance and health and healing and nurturance. And I think, you know, the Divine Mother is a really, really big piece of that. And more so lately, I'm seeing even more of like the full Divine Feminine. So the Divine Mother aspect of that, but also all of these different aspects of the Divine Feminine. So she has all of these different faces and expressions, from the, you know, more of the just really potent, powerful force of Kali and Durga, and the intense wrath when needed even. But, you know, how can the feminine really wake up, if you will, to its more fullness and its full expression in the world? Because that is the gift, and then that is also the rebalancing, I think, that's going on. And we're exploring that with our business, and how to, you know, how do I, as a woman that's very, very feminine, I mean, I definitely have an ability to be really masculine and get things done and stay very focused, and you know, it's great to have that ability to play with both energies. And definitely at my core, I'm a much more feminine essence woman. And so how can I create this business and this community hub from more of that place, and really, you know, call in the support that we need, be able to ask for what I want, really get in touch with my desire body. So as a woman, getting in touch with our desire body and really connecting our hearts, our wombs, and then the higher spirit realms, connecting that into what is it that we want to manifest. And then as we're in more of an alignment with the desire body and being able to be really clear about what we want and speak it to the universe, the easier it is for the universe, the community, our partners, our children, to be able to answer that that call. So we're playing with that one as well, which is really fun. And one of my desires right now, and the center is really new, we're just 2 months young, but we're actually expanding. So we have another space that's right there that we're going to open up into and have a much larger space available for more music events and larger workshops and community dance events and different things like that. So we're having the need for more finances. And so we're having this wonderful time doing an IndieGoGo campaign, which is a crowdfunding campaign. And it's kind of like Kickstarter, but we get to keep whatever monies we have contributed, we get to actually keep those even if we don't make our goal. And so we're doing this crowdfunding campaign for a couple more weeks where we're raising the funds, and it's been this wonderful practice of really putting it out into the universe in a very direct and concrete way of, okay, here's our desire, this is what we want to create, this is what we feel like the community is calling for and has space for, and here is one of the ways, magical, amazing ways. The crowdfunding thing is really cool. It's like awesome to learn about it. But it's basically a way for people to put forth their creative projects and be supported globally even. And so we're doing that right now to raise the funds for the expansion of the space and to be able to do the live streaming. We're going to, like I was sharing with you earlier, we're going to actually implement a live streaming channel for OASIS where then the work that is happening here, not only Scott and I's offerings, but the other practitioners and then other people from the community that come and teach here and do different events here, the live streaming will then take that out into the world. So people don't have to just be here locally to be able to experience the different offerings. So that's really exciting.
That is exciting. So that's an example of when the container really starts to overflow and there can be more and more expansion to sharing in a broader level and bringing the gifts that get cultivated here in the openings more and more out.
It's really exciting.
So I'm happy to have shared with you today and to be a part of that process of just getting the word out more and more about OASIS. And also I just have to give a big thank you to you, Renee. I've received so many gifts from Renee just in the last couple of days. One, I was invited to her Shakti Flow class, which was deeply transformative for me, and just this time that we've shared talking and preparing for the interview.
It's been good.
Thank you. Thank you again so much.
And I look forward to all the ways that we can
keep co-create.
I know, we're already talking. Live streaming interviews all over. It's going to be a lot of fun. So thank you for doing this.
You're
helping bring the heart to heart and the relationships and the things that are really beautiful happening, paradigm shifting things out to
there's so many
people that are
powerful opportunities that we have to actually begin to embody and grow into these new ways of being. But I feel like you're right. You were right. You mentioned a little bit ago that we're actually still kind of moving into those areas.
Right.
So it's exciting for me when I meet someone like you and can really honor you and be like, this is a living example, this kind of wisdom, because every time we meet a living example, it gives us the opportunity to then come home to self and begin to embody those qualities as well.
Absolutely.
And that's really kind of the vision of the show.
Right.
So thank you for being a
Perfect.
part of that.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And thank you.
And thank all of you.
So many blessings, and thank you, each of you, for your part as well, and hearing the calls, wherever that might be, and just living more and more and more who you are in the world. We love it.
Yum! Thank you. I hear your baby.
Yep.